Put that coffee down.
Act as if.
You be ferocious. You be relentless.
Show me the money.
All right, everybody, welcome to the next episode of the Out Fast Podcast. My name is Greg Simpson. I am your host with my partner on to my right, as usual, Jeremy Cloder.
Bang, bang.
Ooh, different today. Right in front of me, we have our producer and marketing expert in the house, Jeremy Griffin.
What up, what up?
With Startup Street. Oh, we didn't get the grrr today.
Yeah, dude, I was like,
Was not prepared for that.
that's what I thought you were going to do, the staple.
Yeah, the girl with the stare down afterwards.
Yeah. So, guys, if you've been enjoying the podcast, make sure you like us on Facebook. You follow us on YouTube. Subscribe anywhere and everywhere you can. We are on YouTube. We are on iTunes. We're on Stitcher. I believe we're also on Alexa and pretty much everywhere else you can listen or watch this podcast. If you are looking to take your real estate business to the next level, whether you are an investor or an agent, you need to reach out to us. You can reach us at info@outfastrealty.com, or you can reach us on Facebook, Messenger, anywhere and everywhere. Again, we are dominating this marketplace.
Dominating.
There is no competition, only domination, right?
The only competition is us.
That's right. So if you're looking to make big things happen like we are, make sure you reach out to us. All right, guys, so we really don't have a topic for this podcast today. We're just going to roll with it. So
roll with it.
You know, we want to kind of talk about a little bit what we're doing and what's going on and stuff like that.
So what is going on? What's going on this week?
Shoot, lots going on. I mean, Jeremy, I think you said you're basically locking up your buyer on that deal. We had one of my flips went out of contract, but then literally the next day we went right back under contract. So that process is always stressful, but that's that. We're moving forward on
How
the
often
townhouse.
does that happen?
Almost every time.
Really?
Yeah. This one I did a Facebook Live on. If you haven't seen it, go check out my personal page. I did a Facebook Live on something that the agent didn't do a good job of, which was basically she didn't do a good job of explaining and setting the proper expectations for her buyer to when they get the inspection report back. To expect the worst, because the inspector's job, we just had Leo on last week. Their job is to nitpick every detail of the house.
So Jacob and Wagman came in the office,
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
Wagman had they pretty much took the inspection report and was like every defect, like we want fixed. So he's like 2 pages of like stuff that they want fixed. Like there's scratches on the fridge. I want a new refrigerator, like all this stuff. And it's like,
Yeah, no, it is. It's crazy. I've seen some really crazy stuff too.
Yeah.
And then they've got other things where it's like the report comes back and they're like, "There's termite damage in the attic." We're in Florida.
Every house.
No kidding.
Yeah,
We'll
every
just
house other than new construction.
Fix the bad stuff.
It's what we, yeah.
What's bad? That's about as subjective as I've ever heard
But
in my
see,
life.
that's what happened
you know?
is, though, because she didn't do a good job of explaining what to expect in the report, they backed out over.
Right.
And honestly, I was telling Jacob this week, I was like, dude, it's probably the cleanest inspection report of any of the flips I've ever done.
Really?
Literally. But that's why I was so kind of like, are you freaking kidding me?
Right.
There's no reason they should have backed out of that deal, because I was just on the phone right before we started the podcast with Tony, the contractor, was like, this house is super easy. There's like one electrical issue that has to get fixed. It's a little bit more complicated, but overall, nothing that should ever prevent someone from moving forward on this deal. So it doesn't matter. We had another buyer lined up that was really upset that we didn't take their offer because it was lower, but we just said, screw it, let's take it and roll. And they're going to close basically the same time frame as the other buyer was. So very happy about that. Fiesta Ridge is going well.
Yeah, I have a couple more doors I need to bring on by the end of or by the mid of the year. But we have a guy that found us through just a Facebook group. Someone tagged me like as far as property management, and so he has 2 quadplexes next to each other. It's actually a group of 4, C-class area, moving from a different company, and then he's buying some more stuff. And lives in New York. Flew down. We met him at the property. It'll be a good project for us to kind of show the value.
Are you rehabbing it too?
We will have to do some stuff on the outside, but as tenants turn over, then we'll kind of up it. But
Sweet.
It'll be good because there's 4 of them together, and we're going to basically match the colors of one of the other ones.
Right.
And if we can get the last owner to get on board, then they all look the same, and you start changing the feel within that area.
That's awesome. Yep.
But I mean, it's one of those things where he's like, dude, you have the most like detailed management agreement of any company, which is good for me, right? For liability.
For sure.
But a lot of stuff in there is just like kind of obvious, and I know that we were more expensive than some of the other people he was looking at, but at the end of the day, it's like, dude, for the value that you want, like you have to
The
pay
hustle
for
thing
it.
in the property management is where the investors really forget.
Yeah.
Because you can have somebody that seems like they've got everything together and all that, but you have that 1 month of vacancy where, like, let's say it's a 2-month vacancy because, you know, it's a very big company and they're not on the game.
Sure.
There
Oh,
goes
dude,
your
so
ROI. It's destroyed.
They had
right?
so they were using Appfolio, which is what we use, but they I
Yep.
guess I don't know if they put it on the MLS or whatever, but they looked back and they, you know, after 2 months of wondering why there's no leads, something was messed up and they had like hundreds of leads in their back system they didn't know about that were wanting to rent this place. And the worst thing is I took Corey there, so I had Corey meet me, which is my handyman, and we walked through and, you know, the door where the little lock comes into the side was like broken on the door. A lot of the slider doors were popped off and needed to be redone or had been like painted, but they were just busted up. I mean, the baseboards were, you know, kind of peeled away from the wall. So like just walking in there, I was like, there's at least another probably $1,000 that needs to be spent in here.
Yeah,
that's a good reason why it probably hasn't rented. And he got someone in there before we took it over. But I'm like, it's just so obvious.
Yeah.
When you're looking for these little things, you're like, no wonder the thing's been sitting 2 months. Like, spend the extra $500 to finish it correctly.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
that's, you know, you never know what's going on sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, you really don't.
You know, that's great. That's a great point, dude. And I want to harp on this. If you are an investor, we're all here to make money, right? We're all here to be on the cheap sometimes and make sure that we're hitting our numbers, right? But that is a huge miss by 90% of investors probably out there is they want to do it on the cheap. I get it. But because they didn't spend the $500, how much did they lose out on 2 months of rent?
Yeah, like at least $900 a month.
At least. So that, look, yeah, you think that you're saving money by not spending that money right now.
Right.
But you're going to kick yourself in the ass 2 months later when you're like, oh shit, I just had 2 months of vacancies. Now I'm literally $1,500 in the hole because of it. So you get in life what you plan for. We've been saying that for a long time now. And if you're not planning to do things right, you're going to sit. Just the way it is. Like if you are rehabbing a house and you cut corners, agents have gotten so smart and know what to look for now because they've seen all these shitty flippers with these crappy rehabs.
Yeah.
They know what to look for when they're looking at the house. They're looking at the baseboards to see how you did how well did you cut the angles? You know, how well did how well did the granite get put in? Is it or even laminate, whatever? How well did it look? Is it done? And by going on the cheap and hiring the guys that are the junk in a trunk kind of guys, you're gonna sit on the market longer.
Yeah.
The guys that we know out there that are really doing a good job. I follow a couple people on Instagram and Facebook, like Tampa Flippers, Jeff Wentworth, and some of these guys out there that are doing really cool things. They're going the extra mile on their rehabs, and they're selling within hours on the MLS. Hours, not
especially
days.
When the market starts to shift, anybody that's not doing it to the fullest potential is just going to be sitting around, just sitting.
Yeah,
Just
it's
sitting.
what happens.
Price drop.
Speaking of trunks, so shout out to my cousin Corey getting the new truck, right? Dude, he got the
Ford family.
the Tonneau.
I had the same one too, by the way.
He got the Tonneau. Really, the same
same
Tonneau.
exact one. Yeah,
really nice. So dude, we were out there last night, and does your truck have? Mine doesn't. Does your truck have lights in the bed?
Yes, sir.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, dude, he's like, look at this. It's got lights in the bed now. I
Oh,
was
on the bottom?
oh,
Like the
yeah.
bottom corner?
No, like in the inside of the truck
on the inside
bed.
of it. So
Oh.
if you got the tonneau cover on it, or it's nighttime, you need to get in the back.
Oh,
those
dude.
lights come on.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is great, man.
Yep.
Genius idea.
Yeah.
It only took them 50, 60 years to figure that out.
I know, right?
Anyway, so what do you got going on, Jeremy?
More of the same. Trying to make really cool stuff and do a great job with the branding while also running the company. Focusing on sales while running the company. I had somebody in here yesterday that was, again, somebody that was really good at what they're doing and is now trying to make a business of it. And we just ended up having a really long conversation that, is basically like, I'm really good at making cupcakes and cakes. I'm going to open a bakery.
Okay.
That's great. Guess what? You suck at running a business. And she's like, well, is that normal? I was like, yeah. I was like, to be honest
Very
with you,
normal.
we all struggle at actually running the business. I go,
You're moving. Well, a lot of the people are good at doing it themselves, and then but not the operation side, right?
Right,
Like
yeah.
they're the
Right.
skilled worker,
It's
but
very
then it's
tough.
going into a different role.
Extremely tough.
I mean, the failure rate is so high for a reason,
And that's
right?
because
So-
most people that go into business for themselves were the technicians.
Yes.
So they don't know how to run marketing. They don't know how to
Right.
run their books and their taxes,
Right.
and they don't know how to run, how to hire, how to fire, how to
Yeah.
outsource, any of that stuff. Dude, if I say it all the freaking time, if I knew what I know now
Oh,
when I
God.
ran my pool business, because I was the technician.
Yep.
I was the technician that opened up their own damn pool company.
Yep.
I would have probably destroyed my competition, and that's why we talk about it, joke it all the time. Like, man, I want to go back sometimes and like just blow shit up, because I know that I would go crush the competition.
You
because
would.
most of the guys in that business did exactly what I did,
Yeah.
and they have 40 or 50 pools they clean, and it's
Yep.
basically for beer money and to
Yep.
pay their rent.
Yep.
But anyway,
You'd get bored with that,
if you
though.
are that person that is the technician that's thinking about starting their business, before you do it, read the book The E-Myth.
E-Myth is really
Is the
good.
greatest
Yep.
business book, in my opinion, for
I've read
any entrepreneur that's thinking about getting started. And now when you're going to the point where, like Joe Dillon talked a couple weeks ago, when you're to the point where you need to scale, then you go get traction.
Yep.
People read traction before they read E-Myth, and then you're doing it
Yeah.
backwards. So E-Myth first,
Yep.
then traction. Because
Yeah.
E-Myth touches on the traction stuff, but the traction takes it to a whole new level.
Yep.
So
People tend to forget that actually running the company, developing those processes, and I call it McDonaldize.
Yeah,
the company.
absolutely.
It's a never ending task. And I would say probably. Well, first of all, 9 out of 10 people that walk in here say the same thing. I need help with social media, right? They all say that.
Sure.
But really what it comes down to is every company that walks in here needs help with either sales or internal organizing.
Sure.
And it's always the same thing. And they're two processes that are never ending. That it's completely dynamic. Your organization internally needs to change as your business changes. And your
the
sales
market
techniques
change?
its markets change. I mean, it's a never ending process, right? But the lady that, when I was talking with her yesterday that was in here, and I was talking about that with the social media stuff, she's like, okay, well, I do need help with social media. And the number one thing that people forget when they come in here and they say that is that they don't need help with social media. They need help creating and understanding interesting ways to promote themselves.
Yeah, the content.
And then there's now your content that you post it and all of that. That's all it is, right? And it's just like Gary says, you just document as you go along. But
Bingo.
if you're not doing anything interesting and you're not interested in documenting what it is you're doing, then yeah, your social media is going to suck. But the social media is that's just your loudspeaker. That's
Exactly.
just your bullhorn to advertise what it is you're doing.
Yeah, and we actually had that conversation at RGA yesterday, which was, we have this powerful tool at our disposal every single day.
Yep.
That, and I made this point to them, because one of the guys is an estate planning attorney and also does personal injury and stuff like
Right.
that too. And he's like, well, I just don't think anybody's gonna be interested in my stuff.
Right.
I'm like, bullshit.
Right.
100% bullshit.
Yep.
And he's like, you may think you're boring, you may think you don't have any content, but guess what? The people that need your service
Yes.
think that's going to be
Yes.
fascinating information.
Yes,
So
exactly.
get out of your own rut. It may not be the sexy thing. Even Addie, my co-host at the RGA meeting, was like, but they may not be demoing walls and
Right.
rebuilding houses and making the
Right.
sexy thing that everybody likes to see on
Right.
HGTV and DIY and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But somebody finds that fascinating. And who
Yes.
gives a shit? I said, who gives a shit about the 90% of people that
Right.
don't find that fascinating? You're going after the 10% that's actually going to
Yes.
buy from you. So don't be afraid to get on social media and do some.
And here's the other thing
videos
with that
inside.
too is that it's an exercising in branding.
Mm-hmm.
It's an exercise in branding as well, because when you're doing that, people might find it interesting, they might not. But when they need that service,
Yep.
they're going to call you, hopefully, because they feel like they know you. And it goes way back to why, in the 90s, all the business cards for the agents all had the pictures on it.
Yep.
Why does my picture have to be on there? So people feel more comfortable picking up the phone and calling you. Well, the video stuff is exactly the same way.
Bingo.
We just had another client that we were doing an exchange project with. Came out great, according to everybody that's seen this. He was not terribly thrilled with it, okay? I don't know, blah, blah, blah. I don't see why anybody would want to watch this. And I go, I'm not telling you that it's going to be terribly exciting for these people to watch
Right.
this 10-minute video of how it is you do your thing. But if they are thinking about possibly calling you and they see this, they now know what you believe in.
Right.
They now know what you stand for. They have a feeling for how it is that you operate. They can see that it's actually a legitimate business going on there. There's nothing shady. You opened up the doors
Yep.
to the public. I mean, it's it's fascinating what it can do for people who are curious about purchasing something and alleviating those fears. And there's just, generally speaking, when the people say that they have issues developing all of that, they don't have the time to do it, and I totally understand that.
Sure.
They don't have the mental capacity to put into what are these creative things going to be that we're going to do. I totally understand that. And this is another very valid one, and this is why us coming in and doing the video stuff for a day with them works out so well. They're really just literally not comfortable picking up the phone and talking into it. They feel way too arrogant doing it.
Really?
Yeah. Like I would say out of all the people that I've worked with, or people even here just come in, over half of them are just not comfortable doing that.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? They just ain't.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we have a surprise visitor here. Hi.
Dun, dun, dun.
We're doing a podcast right now, so I can't talk, but I always have time to take a check.
Money, money,
Want me
money.
to call you later? Yeah. Okay, we'll do.
Ring the bell.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, there we go. Ring that bell, boys. All right. Yeah. So that's usually that's a great segue.
I love it.
Always selling.
Taking checks in the middle of the podcast.
Always be closing.
And she's a great client right there too. So
What does she do?
She runs a company called Skin Science in South Tampa.
Okay.
And they just launched their lineup of actual products that they're developing. Vitaskin Science. It's all plant-based serums
Nice.
and vitamins, completely organic, completely plant-based for skin, hair, and nails.
Okay.
And
Nice.
There's a lot of handful of people around town that swear by it.
Okay.
They've been doing it kind of on the side. Now they're rolling it out. And I
deal.
assume you got something to roll out. You know who
Let's
to
roll.
come see. But that's the three things usually. It's either time, they don't have the mental capacity to figure out what are those interesting things going to be, or they're just not comfortable being on camera. Those are the main three things that everybody has issues with.
Yeah.
Three things that you two do not have issues with, which I think is a big, reason why. When you were talking about the other gentleman, you were just asking, so what are we doing good? They're like, you guys are doing great with branding. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so let's talk about branding a little bit. Like, what are some of the steps that you need to take, for people that might be listening that don't maybe have the Outfast type of brand? Like, how do you brand and market that? It's tough for a lot of people.
You really have to take and this is true in any kind of a small business. Big companies can brand themselves literally however they want. Okay.
Yep.
Pepsi can brand itself however they want because the mindset of the CEO and the mindset of the people on the board will not trickle down. The company's so large, right? It's not going to trickle down into the organization. They can decide we want to be known for this, put some money into the advertising, and slowly change that brand just through sheer attrition, right? I used to make a lot of mistakes way back in the day with small businesses because they would say the same thing. Okay, so I need to do the branding and all that. And I would start by doing market analysis, looking for the gaps in the marketplace, right? Doing some kind of a gap mapping and all that stuff, and say, okay, cool. So here's where I think your niches are that we could attack, right? And it's mostly based off of emotions and maybe a little bit of how your processes operate or features of the products and whatnot, and say, okay, cool, let's go there. The problem that I ran into is that with small companies and whatnot, I'm trying to figure out where that person needs to go. That person needs to go where their heart tells them they need to go, where their mindset tells them that they need to go, okay? Like with her that just came in, when we were talking about the packaging that it's going to be sold in, we are going back and forth on, do we make the packaging really nice or do we just put it in a box? And I go, well, what do you feel about that? I go, do you look at this has to come in a nice package, isn't it beautiful, blah, blah, blah? And she goes, no. She goes, I don't care about the package. I care what's in it, okay? And if it works, I go, then that's what we should do.
Well, what about her customers? Has she surveyed her customers? Because that's one thing I think that people like to tend to forget about. So what are your thoughts on that?
If you're in an industry and you feel a certain way, I can assure you, especially with something like that will be pushed out nationally, that there is enough of the market segment that agrees with you.
Okay.
Because if you've been in that industry for long enough, if you feel this way about a certain part of that industry, like you guys might have a belief on this is completely stupid, but tile roofs, right? Tile roofs suck. I hate tile roofs. They're junk. I can't stand them, right? Okay, well, what if you have customers that want a tile roof? It doesn't matter. Because enough of the people are going to feel like you do that you should just be open with how it is you feel about things.
Okay.
Right? So she was like, no, she's like, I have more than enough girlfriends that feel exactly like that they don't care They just want to know, do the results work on what's inside?
Yeah, it doesn't have to maybe be fancy. It just has to be clean.
Well,
Right, so-
especially if she's doing like plant-based and some of that, it's not like the glamour of the box. Maybe it's a different feel.
She
with
goes,
that
the
type
only
of
thing
thing.
my people care about is the results.
Like I think of natural boxes, or like a box of that. I'm thinking
Right.
like a brown cardboard looking box,
Recycled.
box, boom, with like just a little logo, maybe embossed on it,
And that's
but
exactly
very
what we're,
simple.
And that's exactly what we're going with.
And then
Yeah,
she's
perfect.
able to.
But
If
that's
she
what I mean.
gets-
That's what I say.
Yes.
People forget about what do your customers expect from
Right.
your brand.
Right, but
I-
but I would much rather see them go down a road that they believe in and test that than try to fake something.
Sure.
Because here's the thing. This is what I told her. I go, because of this, because of the phone. People are going to ask you about things. People are going to want your take on things. And you do not want to get stuck saying that you're doing something in your business that you don't believe in
Yeah.
because you think your customers want it that way. That's awful, right? So I would much rather see them go with where their heart is. So first and foremost, so when you're dealing with somebody and they're trying to figure out their brand, you got to figure out what's important to them. What does a company stand for?
Their culture.
Right? What is the culture you're trying to develop? And then get into the actual aspects of the business. What has always driven you nuts about this industry? You know what I mean? And like when you start diving into all of that, then you're kind of developing the brand. Now, the lady that was in here yesterday that I was just referring to, she was trying to launch 3 different products. One of them was completely saturated. It wasn't even worth it. So there is things to talk about, as far as competitive analysis, what does the marketplace look like
Yeah.
and all that. But overwhelmingly, you've got to go with what does the guy believe in. And that is why you see so many small businesses where guys have money and they want to go and test something out, okay? And it doesn't work because there's no passion there. We wanted to be, I had a guy that I worked with years and years ago, and he basically was like, yeah, I've always kind of wanted to be in that industry. I wanted to test it out, so that's why I went into it. Company flopped. Guy didn't believe in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't
Yeah.
brand that. And right now, your product has to be legitimate. You have to be competitively priced, okay, according to what level it is you're offering or whatever. But brand is... Part of me thinks brand is everything, and then the other part of me thinks that brand doesn't matter at all sometimes because you can just hustle, and there's plenty of successful like air conditioning companies out there and other companies. Really not much of a brand at all. They just run a really, really great business. But if you're trying to do something big, brand is everything.
Yep.
It really is. It is the separator.
Localizing, brand doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot. If you can provide a good service and you have a good network of people that can help refer you and you're comfortable where you're at, that's fine. Brand
Right.
doesn't really matter because at that point, the business owner is the brand.
Right.
If you're planning on doing big things, like you're trying to do massive expansion, then brand is everything.
Right.
So you can't expect to go with Joe's pool service
Right.
and be a national company.
Joe better be one hell of a charismatic individual.
No
to
shit.
Pull that off, okay?
Yeah, you got to have like you got to have something like again, Outfast is like
Right.
it can be a national type brand
Right.
eventually. That's our plan.
Yes.
long term.
Yep.
Is to
And
get
that
to
stands
point.
for something.
Yeah.
When people hear that, they automatically think of something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that is getting that conveyed is tough.
Yeah.
And I've made way too many mistakes, 10, 15 years ago of trying to get people's brands to where I thought they needed to be and completely not even humoring who is this guy? Who is this woman? What does she stand for?
Yep.
And I've just completely reversed it over the last handful of years and we're going to try this and hopefully it works.
Yeah.
And if the market responds, great. If the market doesn't, then guess what? You probably weren't going to make it anyways because what you freaking believe in, the market doesn't believe in it.
Yeah. Pretty
I
crazy.
mean, where are you going with that?
Yeah.
It's
a tough one to overcome for sure.
tough.
If you're just trying to throw money at something to make it stick,
tough.
and then
It's very tough. The other thing, that we've got going on, obviously, everybody that's listening sees the video work that you guys are doing. And from our perspective, mine and Colin's, and we were talking when we were saying that the other day, and you guys were like, we love it, kill it on the first take. And I'm like, the first take's the only take with this game. That is tough too, man. That is really tough.
Yeah.
We've gotten very good at directing the clients into areas where the filming will come out good, right? But unless you're, what is it? Jordan Belfort there says you got 3 things for sales, right? You got to be sharp as a tack. You have to know your product inside and out, and you have to come at it with massive levels of enthusiasm. Okay. Really, with that, unless you've got that, it's very tough.
Makes
you know
sense.
what I mean? And there's a saying that, nothing exposes a business quicker than great marketing.
Yeah.
Right? You start putting cameras and phones on people and shit like that, and the thing's a mess. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Right? Things get real really quick. So that's what we got going on, and that's always kind of a struggle, is working with people through that, especially because when we start working with a new client or whatever, we know the first one isn't going to come out great. It's a pilot episode for all intents and purposes. And anybody that's watched their favorite shows goes back and watches the pilot. And they go, wow, that was pretty bad.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is kind of what we were just talking about with the inspections before, which is managing the expectations, right? Not everybody's going to be like these two guys here that just crush it first time out of the box.
Our episode was pretty damn good, but it was
the first one came out great. But that is though why, knowing how much you guys are on board with the same things that we are with Grant Cardone and Gary Vee and all these guys and what you believe in and all that, you could already envision what it was going to be before we even did it.
Yeah.
So it came out great.
Yeah.
I deal with a lot of people.
They've
man.
gotten better too, for sure.
You would be shocked. I was at a very, very large marketing company in the Tampa area, okay? Top 10. They do about 70 mil a year, okay? Big meeting. It's probably not big meeting, but 6-7 other people are in there, right? No one knew who Russell Brunson was from ClickFunnels.
Get the hell out of here.
Most of them know Gary Vaynerchuk.
Well, yeah.
2 of them knew Grant Cardone.
Get out.
That's it, bro. That's it. I go, now they've been around for a while, okay? And that's why when I was talking to them about, and I was in there as kind of a partner consultation type thing, I'm in there and I'm talking about how we went, and they're just like,
Who?
I don't get it. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, wow. I'm like in an alternate,
my head
I'm in
hurts.
an alternate universe in
My
this
head
place,
hurts
man.
now.
The ugly duckling.
And I get it, some people say that, they go, well, maybe they're just busy focusing on their work and not. How do you not know who your industry leaders are?
I mean, they
Like, you
are
gotta have
the
your
guys.
Finger, you got to have your finger on the pulse of these things.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly can't think of anybody more famous than Brunson with online marketing right now.
Hello.
I can't.
Hello.
It's like they're just
He's like the god
He's the guy.
of online marketing
Yeah.
and has built this culture
Yes.
of people that follow
Straight
him.
up culture.
Yeah. Golly.
No, it's really crazy, So seeing things like that always kind of piques my interest. But yeah, there's a lot of marketing companies out there that are very, very large that aren't really interested in things like that. And I'm just the exact opposite. Like I always want the things that are new and whatnot.
Yeah, I remember a couple years ago. This is years ago now, so I'm not gonna, it's before really ClickFunnels took off or
Right.
Brunson really took off. But I knew who he was. I follow all the industry leaders of everything,
Yep.
right? And so I was like, I want you guys to make a funnel. It was a marketing company. I was
Right.
like, I'm gonna spend some money, build a funnel, blah blah blah. And they didn't really know what funnels were
Right.
either. They were all
Yeah.
it's all WordPress, and it has made this massive shift
Yep.
from having this badass website. You still need to have a badass website.
Yeah.
There's no argument there, but you have to have your funnel
Yeah.
pages set up
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Or because people they want to have it all in one spot.
Yep.
They don't want to have to necessarily go search 17 different places. If
Yep.
they're especially if you're running an ad, like we're going to be running an ad for
Yes.
marketing for agents that want to
Yes.
come on board, blah blah blah. We don't want them to have to make too many decisions of going, oh, let's find out about property management. Let's find out about the flipping. Here's what it is.
Exactly.
Are
Here's
you
what it
interested
is.
or not?
Yes.
Yay or nay?
What is that that saying in Glenn Ross? Do you have Baldwin was just chewing that guy out, and it's basically like, have you come to your conclusion for God or something at that point, right?
Yeah.
But that's the thing. So first of all, and this was our conversation before, right? You have to have that page to drive people to, and that's why, with everything we're doing right now, I'm not even really giving it as an option anymore. If we're gonna create really cool stuff, we have to make sure that we have all that stuff set up, because otherwise it just kind of all goes to
That's
the
kind of how we
distance.
felt a couple weeks ago.
You know
We were
what
like,
I mean?
we need to figure out. Okay, we've got all this great content. We've got 5 episodes now. We've got
Yes.
a bunch of podcast episodes.
Yep.
What are we gonna do with it?
What are we
now?
doing with all of it?
How are we
Where
gonna put it
driving
together?
it? How
Yeah.
are we capturing all of it?
Right.
And that's why it's called a squeeze page, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you want to get people there, and they either say, I'm in, or
I'm
I'm
out.
leaving. There's no more searching. There's no more anything.
Yeah.
And get that information. And then, hopefully it's some kind of a follow-up with some multiple emails and whatnot. But, if you can get the phone numbers, that's something I always struggle with. Is do we ask for the phone number on anything? I don't like for the podcast shop here. We're doing 2 different lead forms. Those are going to drive to off of the ads. One's going to ask for the phone number. One's not. Probably not going to get nearly as many people that want to put their phone number in there because they're interested. But I can assure you that if I get somebody on the phone, that deal's done. Whereas opposed to having to shoot them an email with automated things to try to get that appointment with them, right? So it'll be very interesting to see does the volume of just collecting the emails with the lead follow up there outweigh what it is that I get with the phone number. But I will tell you with what I used to do with one of the other clients, if they're interested, they usually put their phone number in there.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say.
They want you to call them. Right?
If they're not willing to put their phone number in, they're probably not either A, interested, like you said, or B, they're not our client in the first place. They're just not that person that we want to attract, especially with us. Like if we're going to be, we're looking for agents. If they're not expecting a phone call, they probably shouldn't even be in the damn business to begin with because their phone is the lifeblood of a realtor's business. So, I guess that's industry specific, and if you're, depends on what you're selling or what you're advertising for. But yeah, if all of our forms have the phone number on it, whether they're selling their house, looking to buy a house, invest in deals, like they have to have a phone number. If they're not willing to do that, I don't really care because they're just tire kickers. Even though some of them are still tire kickers for sure. But
you're always going to deal with that a little bit.
Yeah, it's just the lead game. The follow up game.
That. We've got. The Drop Zone Gunner event's coming out. Coming up. I'm a big proponent that every company needs a big signature event. Yeah. That's something we should talk about, like a grand finale, TB RIA, merger, one for all, end of the year thing. Can we talk about what we were talking about possibly doing?
Yeah.
With the like the golden ticket and stuff
that?
Yeah,
we can talk about that for sure.
Okay, cool. So just so you guys know, Greg and Jeremy here have these incredible events they put on. I mean, they're getting like 100 people, 100 plus people to a lot of them. It's pretty cool. And I'm like, man, what can we do with this? So we wanted to start doing some giveaways in order to kind of liven it up. So are we going to do that first golden ticket at this one?
Yep. We also have a gift to give away this month as well.
Nice.
We have J-Dog stuff. Plus we have Leo's. He was going to give something. And then I think we had one of the person before J-Dog. I think we also have another thing. So we can just basically those podcast giveaways that we have.
Well, I'll toss in one of our shut up and get started kits too.
Okay.
That we're doing giveaways of, which is basically 100 business cards, 50 flyers, 5 wristbands. Get your buddies together. Go out. No more excuses.
Yep.
Go make it happen.
Yeah, so for those of you that are listening that are not TB RIA members and you want to be a part of this event, you have to be a TB RIA member to win. Like, this is a TB RIA members exclusive. You're going to get a ticket at the door, and we will be doing a drawing right before our speaker comes on. So you have to be present to win. You have to be a member, and also don't always forget, you have to have a business card. You are disqualified if you do not have a business card to win these things. But we're also going to have our giveaways from our sponsors of the event. TB RIA is going to be giving away, I think, a free membership as well.
Cool.
No, wait, it's like an extension of their current membership. There's one that's going to be like a little starter package, like with like a lockbox and some business cards and stuff like that. We'll be putting it out there for sure. And then the big one is like $250 in cash money.
$250 in cash.
All
I can't wait to see who
all
wins that.
Yeah, I know, right? That's gonna be so all ones. So we're going to the dollhouse afterwards? No. Definitely not. Not my scene.
You got to buy the little cash gun, man, that shoots the dollar bills out.
Oh, my God. I haven't seen that.
No.
They have one of those?
Yeah.
Let's get it.
That'd be
We'll
fun.
go where Greg just said with the cash gun. I mean, I'm going to talk about causing some hype.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Hopefully they let us bring the cameras in. I doubt it.
No.
All right. Colin's giving us the wrap up there.
Giving us the finger. He's giving us the finger.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this edition of the Outfast podcast. Make sure you are subscribed to us on all and every medium there is out there for podcasts. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. We have soon coming out our latest webisode. Be sure to check that out. It's going to be awesome. We got a sneak peek of it already, so we're really excited about that. And make sure you reach out to us at info@outfastroyalty.com if you have any questions. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Ooh.